just tragic.
There's no other way to describe it. It's totally tragic.
2 people are dead after tornadoes ripped through the Bay Area.
Oh, my Lord. I never expected anything like this in a million years.
Cars damaged, homes destroyed, families devastated.
It looks like a war zone.
We have live team coverage of the tornado outbreak. Good Sunday morning. Welcome to this special edition of News Channel 8. I'm Gene Ramirez. All right, we've been listening into Steve Andrews, and he's been trying to talk to officials there. But as you can imagine, we are having some difficulties. There's a lot going on. There's power down in some areas. There's communication issues with some of our crews because of all of this devastation. But what you're looking at here is a live picture from Eagle 8 of what was once the mobile home of a family out in Duet. That's a small rural neighborhood in Manatee County, and we are learning this morning that a family, including several children, were there spending the night visiting Grandma and Grandpa when all of a sudden this storm ripped right through that home. The latest information that we have as far as this family, 2 dead, a male and a female. We're not sure if those are the grandparents, if those are the parents. We're working to confirm that. But 1 male and 1 female dead. One died, we are told, inside the mobile home. The other one died on the way to the hospital. And then we also know that the children and the other adults involved are also receiving medical attention this morning. But now, Lindsay, because this is such a rural area, when we had Jim Hockett speaking with us earlier on the phone, he was telling us that somebody just kind of happened upon this scene. These people didn't even have a chance to make the call themselves and say, hey, we need help. Yeah, this is the area of Ocean Drive. If you're familiar with Siesta Key, you know, Ocean Drive curves into Midnight Pass. There's a lot of beachfront condos there, and we've been seeing a lot of damage in those condos. The Excelsior condominium is one of them. This other one that we're looking at right now, Paul, has been walking through this all morning, talking to residents. Many of them, even though Dan Noah with the National Weather Service says there was an 18-minute heads up, this is coming, a lot of people may not have known it. They may have been sleeping, of course, when this happened, because it was, we heard from Lee about 3 a.m. when it hit the Sarasota area. A lot of people now waking up without roofs, as we saw there at Tradewinds Resort, the roof completely blown out. But Paul Amundsen bringing us those eyewitness accounts from people describing this as fast and furious. Steve, to see something like this, people might think, well, what's it like to live it? And I think, Gail, all we have to do is think about Mrs. Wilson and the fact that she died of a heart attack after the fact, being taken to the hospital. She just couldn't take it. Our Mary McGuire is live out there now. We hear a lot of noise behind you. I take it they're trying to clear some of these trees out of the way.
Back to you guys in the studios.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, because over the hours that we've been checking in with you out there, we've seen people out there kind of curious, trying to see what's going on, check on their neighbors, but it looks like most of the people are now off the streets. Is that because they've been asked to go inside? I know that's what officials originally wanted.
Back to you.
Extremely sad, Steve. Thank you. And hearing from that neighbor really takes us there to that moment and shows us that not only the family was dealing with this, but the entire community.
And you can imagine that.
It is live in Siesta Key along Midnight Pass. There were many of those condos, Peter, saw a whole lot of damage overnight. And people really impressed by the cleanup efforts starting so quickly, but you need to clean up because, again, because of those winds, it could continue to spread this debris around, causing more damage. Well, we've been watching here everything happening in Sarasota County. We want to get now to Manatee County.
El Nino.
Yeah, and Steve, I wanted to ask you, because again, we keep describing this as a rural area. Many people in the Bay Area may not be familiar with Duet, but then we heard from that neighbor who the son of this couple went out and tried to get help from. How far did he go? Can you give us an idea of how close the neighboring homes are? We're in a moment of desperation. You would run and try to find help?
This is a very rural area.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how far you have to go or what you have to do at that point. I'm sure Stephen Jr. was only concerned about getting help for himself, his kids, and his parents as well.
And let's be clear.
And you're looking here at the area of Ocean Drive there, which turns into Midnight Pass. You might be familiar with that area because that's where many of the condos and rental communities are. This is peak season. A lot of tourists in town right now. Many snowbirds who come down this time of year to get away from the cold, hoping to enjoy Florida sunshine, instead waking up, some of them without a roof over their heads.
And sadly, this is not something that we're used to. Sure, we talk hurricanes all the time, and we do have our water spouts and Tornadoes that touched down briefly, but nothing to this magnitude, literally hopscotching its way across Sarasota County and sweeping through Manatee County, causing deadly results.
And several of the communities there affected, including the Tradewinds Resort, the Excelsior condominium, many other condos and rental properties there affected by this. Lots of debris scattered on the roads. But this morning, the cleanup is beginning now because we do have more wind as well. And there is a concern that the winds can spread that debris around and perhaps injure somebody. So we do want to get the latest on the weather, these winds and everything else. We're going to check in with meteorologist Mark Collins in just a moment when we're ready for him or when he's ready for us. But right now, we want you to continue looking at these live pictures from Eagle 8 because it's really, Gail, shows how severe this was. This is a large condo building and that roof is gone.
Quite a hit.
Yeah, it looks like those carports became wind tunnels, funneling all that debris through, smashing all those windows. If you can see there, that second floor, that is where they rescued Nancy from. And I can tell you, having been here early this morning when they had just completed that rescue, it was no easy task. It took, as you heard there, 2 hours. And I can tell you the way it was done is that they used what we have been describing as airbags to lift the roof and be able to take Nancy, the victim in this case, out of there. And now she is thankfully doing all right. As we